ran a stadium for 6 years from 2012 to 2017 and 2 years in 2000 and 2001. From 2002 to 2011, I was a tenant at Hard Rock Stadium. The Dolphins were in charge of stadium operations. I was very involved in it with our stadium operations people because at the end of the day, anything that goes wrong at a Marlins game, while publicly I used to like to say, hey, that's not us. We don't do concessions. We don't get corporate sales revenue. It's the Dolphins. It's the Dolphins. I was always trying to blame everybody but myself. And the truth is that in a disagreement, we would lose between the Marlins and the Dolphins because the Dolphins were the landlords. We were the tenants, which is why we wanted our own building where we could be in charge. I love the control. I love being in charge. I want to be in charge. I demand it. I want to be blamed if things don't go well. And I want to have the option to give the credit to someone else if things do go well, or take it for myself, or share it. I'm getting ready to watch the game, which was supposed to have an 8 p.m. kickoff. And someone texted me that it's an 8:30 kickoff now because Biden is giving a speech from the Oval Office. No problem. I go and watch the speech from 8:00 to 8:07, and I had not yet heard about what was going on. And then I went on X and saw that the Copa tournament was delayed, the kickoff, until 8:30, not because of a presidential address, but because there had been a security breach at Hard Rock Stadium. There had been safety issues. And then, like an airplane at an airport, which is enough to drive anyone insane, where they give you multiple delays in 15-minute increments, the game was going to start at 8:45 and then 9:15. And kickoff eventually happened at 9:22. I'm not going to say one word about what happened on the field during the 124 minutes of action. I'm going to focus on something that will get a lot of attention going forward. And I am more than happy to tell you when I'm wrong, when I give you a wait to see, when I think about things that are going to happen. I gave a lot of thought to this Copa final after what happened in the semifinal, when it was basically Malice at the Palace Part 2. Families feeling unsafe, players going into the stands, fighting. And I told you that Stephen Ross will not put up with it. I did a show where I took a very strong position that there is no scenario where families will in any way feel endangered. They will be fully secured inside Hard Rock Stadium. Holy cow, was I wrong. I was wrong in a way that I didn't contemplate being wrong. I figured if I'm going to be wrong, it means that someone is yelling at them and doesn't get escorted out for whatever reason, or someone throws soda or popcorn or does something in that section, and that it would get attention because players would notice, and then there'd be statements. So that was the only scenario that I figured I'd get wrong. It never occurred to me that people would breach the gates and climb through vents to get into the game. It wouldn't occur to me that there would be stampedes. It wouldn't occur to me that this was ultra, with people climbing over fences in order to gain access. Even at ultra, when you climb fences to gain access, you still have to go through security. People still will find you. What happened at Hard Rock yesterday with people climbing and wilding and people destroying property. Look at the video if you're watching on the YouTube channel, Nothing Personal with David Samson. That's a stampede where there's nothing the police can do but try to save children and arrest as many people as they can. And then they gave up. I've been in meetings where there is something that happens on a game day that you don't plan for. We've had scenarios where we plan for it. I am really trying to think of the word right now. It's shooter scenarios where you rehearse. Here's what we're going to do. Here's where we go. One thing that we did not do for Marlins games was prepare for what would happen if more than 20,000 people above a sellout would come to Marlins Park. Even during the World Baseball Classic, we would prepare for sellouts. We would prepare differently for World Baseball Classic events or for Guns N' Roses concerts than we would for a Tuesday Marlins game in August, 20 games back. I don't care whether you are a fan of CONMEBOL, whether you're a fan of CONCACAF. I don't care anything other than the responsibility for security rests on the police department of Miami Gardens, the city of Miami-Dade, the county of Miami-Dade, and Hard Rock Stadium. Whatever is being fed to you that says, hey, they took over, we had nothing to do with it, we don't know anything, is absolute horse hockey. You do not give over your ballpark or stadium. I don't care if someone rents the whole thing out for a bar mitzvah and brings in their own bathroom security. If you know, you know. In the beginning, last night when this was happening, there was a lot of finger pointing, and I want to give Hard Rock credit for taking full responsibility. While they did say the venue worked in collaboration with the two organizations, the fact of the matter is they recognize in their statement that at the end of the day, they are responsible. They called out the criminal behavior of so many fans. This is not about immigration. This is not about diversity. This is not about language. This is not about Colombia. This is not about Argentina. The expectation of fan behavior in the United States is different. Much like we talked about when the show started, the expectations of how we behave in a political campaign better be different unless you have found a different and better finish line. The finish line for a sporting event is to get fans into their seats, the correct seats, safely, expediently, and starting the game on time. It's a pretty simple 3-point plan. None of those things happened.